Hello and welcome to Town Yoga. Today we are going to use our yoga strap or similar item to do some really nice mobility and stretching in our hip joint. So if you have a yoga strap, that's great. I'm actually using my jujitsu belt today because it's a little bit longer. You want an item that you can wrap around the base of your foot and hold in either hand. So a bathrobe strap, a dog leash, even a beach towel that you just roll up. Any of those should work to help you out. And if you have really tight hamstrings, the longer that prop, the better. You don't need a yoga mat today. You just want to be anywhere that you have some open space. So this can be inside or outside. We don't need a grip for our hands and feet. We're going to be laying on our back using this strap for basically the entire practice to really get into the hip joint. So go ahead and find yourself a clear space you can lay in. Swing the foot around a little bit, so as much open space as you can get. And then if you like to have a pillow or a blanket when you lay on your back to support your neck, you can grab that as well. And that's basically all we need: some space, a yoga strap or a similar item, and then any other little comforts that you would like. And we'll meet laying on our back with knees bent before we get into this wonderful hip work here. I'm excited because this is some work that I really like to do, so this video is a bit indulgent as well because it's giving me the time to get a little stretch and mobility in. We start with our knees bent, feet planted, so you can just relax your back a little bit. You can leave the knees up or let them fall into one another. And just feel that chest start to open, maybe bring your palms face up by your sides. And just take a few slow, deep breaths here to kind of start our practice to get us a little more present with our bodies. Taking the time to inhale and fill the chest up, holding at the top. And then exhale, let everything get a little closer to the ground, pausing at the bottom for a few rounds. Inhale, fill and hold. Exhale, release, and pause. All right, we're going to start with a little bit of movement here. And we're going to start bringing the prop around our right foot. So I want to mention with the left that you have a few options here. If you have very tight hamstrings and laying your left leg out straight in front of you causes a little pain in the back or too much stress in the leg, then go ahead and leave it bent. It can be just a little bit bent, it can be a lot, whatever feels most comfortable for you, and you can change it throughout the practice. I'm going to leave mine straight for now, but just know that you have options on that left side. There's no need to straighten it out right away. And now we're going to focus on the right by bringing our yoga strap or similar item around the ball of our foot, which is going to be just below the toes, but kind of above the arch in between those two areas generally. And then start to extend the right leg out. And you'll have your hand on either end of the prop here. And some of us are going to be able to extend our leg all the way straight, no problem. And some of us with tighter hamstrings are going to need to keep a little bend in that leg. Completely fine. When I say straighten, I don't mean you have to come all the way to straight. I just mean come towards straight until you feel you cannot go any further and then stop. And we are going to start with a hamstring stretch. So the muscles that run along the back of our leg here and attach into the hip. So stretching the hamstring gives us some good hip mobility and range of motion. To find the hamstring stretch, again, you're going to bring your leg towards as straight as is comfortable for you. And then you're just going to slowly start to inhale and lift it up over towards the hip. It doesn't have to stack on top. Pause when you feel your stretch. Exhale, slowly release the right heel down in front of you until it hovers over the ground. And then inhale, come back up into your stretch. And you might have to find some different lengths on your prop here, which works best for you. As you just slowly exhale down and inhale up for a few rounds. finding your hamstring stretch, whether the leg is straight or bent. You're just pairing your movement to breath and bringing a little bit of length into the back of the leg, bringing a little bit more mobility into the back of the hip. We'll take 2 more rounds of this kind of moving hamstring stretch. And then pause and hold the stretch for a few rounds of breath at the top. Now, some people like to bring their hands up really close to the foot, and some like to leave the elbows relaxed down. You can do whichever you prefer. You're probably feeling a little stretch in the calf here too. If it's too much, move the strap down towards the arch of your foot. Okay, so now we're going to get a little bit to the inside and outside of the hip. So this IT band area, and then also the adductors, the kind of inner thigh here. We'll start with those adductors. Since the strap is around the right foot, go ahead and bring both straps into the right hand. And then for balance, we're going to reach our left hand out to the left. That's our kind of counterweight here. And then again, your level of flexibility, you're just going to start to bring this right foot out to the right. And you're going to start to feel a stretch on that inner thigh. And then once you feel a stretch where you're like, okay, that's enough, I'm noticing, we're going to hold for a moment. And then we're going to lift this right foot back up over the hip. And we're going to switch both straps into the left hand, and we're going to open our right hand out to the right for a little counterbalance. And now we're going to focus on this IT band as we bring the right foot across the body over towards the left. And you're going to start to feel that stretch on the outer hip down the outside of the leg. Stop when you notice it. Breathe and feel it. And then slowly come on back up. So for the next few rounds of breath, we're going to draw those nice big rainbows through the air. Whether your foot's over the hip or it's here, doesn't matter, because as you come across the body, you are going to get that stretch for the inner and outer thigh here. And that's, again, attachments up into the hip and pelvis, so creating a little more mobility in the hips. You can do the switch of hands like I cued at first, opening out, and then switching in the center. Or at some point you might just like leaving it in one hand as you flow, and that's completely fine. It's finding what's most comfortable for you. As you just bring some attention into the inner and outer thigh. And you can move with your breath, or you can pause and hold for a few rounds of breath when you open up. If you find a stretch, a spot that there's a little bit of kind of adhesions or some tightness in, maybe you use a strap to hold it there. You pause and breathe. Let's take a few more rounds focusing on this kind of side-to-side movement. And again, this left leg can still have a bend in it. If that left leg needs to stay bent, not a problem. The next time the right foot comes back up over the hip, we're going to take a half happy baby. So you can bring your hand to either side of the strap, a hand to one, right and left, and then start to bring this right knee towards your right armpit while leaving the sole of your foot up towards the sky. And you just can use the strap to help bring that knee towards the armpit. And again, if the left knee needs to be bent, no problem. And we just pause and breathe here in and out for a few rounds. If you like a more active version of the stretch, you can press the foot up and then draw the knee back a few times. And then if you like to just hold the stretch, go ahead and do that. Yogi's choice for the next 2 to 3 rounds of breath here. Slowly go ahead and bring the right heel down towards the bum so you can remove the strap off from that side, putting it down for a moment. And then just set the right foot down in front of your hip and you can draw your left foot in. Okay, so we're going to take that same flow now on our second side to kind of even things out, and then we'll go a little bit more into both sides with another version of this. So again, you're going to bring the left knee in, bring the strap around the ball of our left foot here, extending it out towards straight for you. You can choose to leave the right knee bent or extend that leg straight along the mat as well. And then we're going to find that nice little hamstring stretch here. So again, you might have a bend in your knee, yours might be straight. If you feel really big stretch on this calf, you might like to not draw the toes back to the shin so much, but let them stay a little more relaxed or pointed. And then to find that hamstring stretch, we're going to start by just inhaling the foot up over the hip, finding your level of stretch as you pause for a moment. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and lower that left heel down to hover over the ground. Inhale, drawing the foot up slowly, finding your stretch, maybe pausing to breathe. And exhaling the heel down. And you're just going to flow with your breath. Again, it can be inhaling up and exhaling down, keeping this kind of slightly faster movement. Or you might choose to inhale up and hold for a few rounds of breath, and then exhale down. I've noticed when I take classes and also when I teach that there is a little bias where we make the second side a bit shorter or give it less time. And so I'm going to try to not do that today. I realize I think a timer might be helpful. But let's give this left side a good amount of time. Give this left hamstring some nice breath and work. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath, just focusing on the hamstring, which as we know runs over the knee and attaches into the back of the pelvis here. So this is hamstring stretch is really helpful for this hip mobility work. And now we're going to get to the inside and outside musculature of this left leg. We'll start with the inner thigh, so bring both straps into the left hand here, and then open your right hand out to the right for a little counterbalance and weight. And slowly, whether your leg is straight or bent, either one's fine, you're going to start to open out to the left, using the strap so that you can pause where you find and feel a stretch and breathe into it for a moment. And then slowly you'll lift it back up. We'll take both straps into the right hand, open our left hand out to counterbalance, and draw the foot across the body, finding that stretch in the outer left hip now. Pausing when you feel it. You can twist a little, that's fine. It's kind of feeling what's best for you. And then you'll come on back up. And now it's yogi's flow, so you can just open out and hold for a few rounds, or you can move a little faster, just kind of flowing side to side. Just make sure you're breathing to help you, again, stay present while we're stretching. Notice what's going on. And if you find a spot you want to pause and kind of just Breathe there, letting those adhesions relax and release a little, using the strap to help you not have to over-engage while you stretch. That can feel really good. Just remember there's always more yoga, so if you're at an edge and you haven't been stretching a lot, maybe don't push it. Maybe back off a little and be a tad gentler. So you can always do the practice tomorrow. And it's just nice to notice what the opposite hip is doing, if it's always following or if you want to direct it away. It's not a lot of right and wrong here because this is very much an exploring movement. So feel free to explore a little bit and to find what's the most comfortable stretch for you. Let's take about one more breath, finding your stretch here. And then I'm going to offer a half happy baby on the second side. So when the foot comes up over the hip, you'll bring a hand to either side here, and then start to bend the left knee towards the left armpit pit, leaving the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling, using the strap to kind of draw it in. And again, you might just stay here, or you might choose to kind of push up and then bend back down a few times or the whole time. Yogi's choice. We'll pause for a few rounds of breath here. We'll take our last round of breath in this half happy baby pose. And then slowly relax the heel down towards your bum so you can take the strap off, move it onto the side, and let's plant that left foot down, drawing the right foot in as needed, back to our kind of bent knee, relaxed back. Okay, so now we're going to do one more round on each side. It's going to be a similar movement, but different enough that you're going to feel a different stretch with these different angles. So another round, same concept. Again, left foot, you can leave it straight, leave it bent. We're going to draw the right knee in and bring the strap around the ball of the foot again. You can always move it down lower if your calves are getting all of the attention. Okay, so two motions. We're going to have circles and then a pendulum. And so hip circles are going to be pretending there's a pencil coming out of the ball of your foot here. And then you're just going to draw some circles with that pencil. And you're going to use the assistance of your hand here on the prop so that you're not engaging too much the abdominals and all the other musculature. But you just get to move through this nice circular range of motion, which makes sense because our hip is a ball and socket joint. So we're really letting the head of the femur move around in the socket of the hip or the acetabulum. And that's a good way to keep this joint nice and healthy. It can be done with a bent knee if your hamstrings are tight, no problem. It might be nice to inhale for half a circle and exhale for half a circle. You can be holding this with just one hand, or like I had, kind of one on either side, yogi's choice. We're going to switch directions, so whenever you're ready, just start to draw circles with your foot in the opposite way, using the strap to help guide you in your circular pattern. And again, if you find a spot that you're like, oh, that's a real tight spot, and you need to pause and breathe into it, you're welcome to do that. You might be exploring just to find the spots that need that attention, or you might like drawing circles. We'll get one or two more in the second direction, and the circle can get bigger, it can get smaller. It's really your practice here. Let's give a little break, half happy baby, bend the knee into the armpit, pause for a moment. And then the last motion is going to be a pendulum motion. So go ahead and extend the right leg towards straight or straight. And we are going to lower this right heel so that it hovers above the ground. So that's a lot of abdominal work. Use this to help out with that. We don't want the abs doing everything here. So we have a grip. I'm going to go with either side. We're going to lower this right heel down just above the left toes. Now take both straps into the right hand, left hand out to balance, and you're just going to turn your right toes out to the right as you open your foot out to the right. And then you're going to send this heel back down to the toes, turning the toes face up, and then turn them over to the left. Take the strap into the left hand and bring this pendulum across the body. And so you're just going to continue pendulum motion here, sending the heel down to the toes, turning it, and open. Send the heel back towards the toes, turn the direction you're going, and open across. And it's very similar to before, but now we're kind of taking a different angle to get there, and so you're going to find different stretches in the hip. And again, at any point, if you just switch, like now I'm just holding it in my left because that's a little easier for me. Not a problem. What's nice about this video is once you've done it like once or twice, you can just have this to practice whenever you need to, whenever the hips are feeling a little tight. Take your favorites. All right, one more time. Maybe you hold the pendulum out wide if it feels good. You might hold your pendulum across. And then from here, we're just going to draw the right heel into the bum so you can take the strap off the right foot, setting it down. Bringing the left foot next to it for a gentle pause in between sides. And we're going to take that same flow on our second side here. So we're going to take some nice circles and then pendulum motion with the left foot. Again, you can leave the right leg bent or extend it out straight, drawing the left knee into the chest. Oh, hi, buddy. We're going to set the strap around the left foot here. And then start to extend it towards straight for you. And pause and breathe for a moment, feeling that little hamstring stretch. And then we're just going to draw some circles. Like you're drawing a circle with your foot, maybe on the ceiling, on the wall. They can be smaller circles and get larger over time. You can inhale for half a circle and exhale for half a circle. Just enjoy bringing the hip through its kind of range of motion work here. Again, the femur meeting the pelvis, keeping that joint nice, healthy. It's a synovial joint, so we want to move it and make it stay kind of lubricated. And just enjoy the movement that you have here. And switch and take a few the opposite direction. If you like kind of learning a little about the body as you practice yoga, then I invite you to be a supporter on Patreon because I have a whole Yoga for Absolute Beginners series there, or for purchase as a course on my website. So I invite you and encourage you to check out my Patreon and or townyoga.com for some really great practices that build on one another. It's kind of this cohesive introduction to yoga. All right, now we're going to pause from our circles the second direction. Go ahead and bring your hand to either side and start to lower that left heel down until it hovers over the right foot here. And we're going to start opening out to the left. So we'll bring both hands, both straps to the left hand, the right out for balance. And turn the toes towards the left as you open the pendulum out to the left, feeling that inner thigh stretch. And then we're going to slowly bring the right foot down, left foot down, and turn the toes to the right. Hands, straps into the right hand and open out to that side. And you'll just continue to draw this pendulum, just swinging the heel down, turning the toes out, open, find the inner thigh stretch. And then the same as you come across, just turning the toes, following them to that outer thigh stretch. And if you see a sweet buddy boy sitting down there at the base, his socks are on today because when our jiu-jitsu mats are out, we don't want his nails to cut them. So if you're in the market for any mats or dog socks, I'll have links to both of those down below. These were some quarantine purchases that I'm very happy with. Got to improve the quality of life right now at home. You heard me talk about you, buddy, huh? Well, let's take maybe one more stretch to either side. You can open out to your level of stretch and hold for a breath. You can bring it across the body, find that outer hip stretch and hold for a breath. And then as the foot comes back up over the hip, go ahead and bend your knee, letting the heel come down towards the bum. So you can go ahead and take this off and plant both feet down in front of you again. And that is our practice for today. So it might feel nice here to leave the knees bent and just kind of stay laying on the back and let the back relax. It might feel nice to come over and take a few cobras laying on your belly. I will link to my cobra tutorial in case you want to do a little bit of work for the back of the body next and let the hips relax. But overall, just thank you for joining in today. I appreciate, we appreciate you coming to join in the town yoga practice, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Nap time. Bye.